Good day everyone, and welcome back to the Frugal Radio channel. Today I want to give you an overview of the upcoming series on monitoring aviation communications. This is my favourite area of the radio hobby. I actually first discovered the magic of radio when I accidentally received a transmission from an airliner when I was just 11 years old. By the time I was a teenager growing up in Ireland, I was listening to the United States Coast Guard patrolling the Florida coast a distance of over 4,000 miles. Since then, I've been hooked. You may already be aware that there are lots of aviation-related communications that can be monitored with scanners and software-defined radios. Just take a look at this picture of a commercial airliner. Most of the world's airliners are equipped with VHF, UHF, HF and satellite communication systems. In fact, the transmissions from these airliners are passing through the air around you right now, and with just a few pieces of inexpensive hardware, it is possible to catch, listen to and decode them. Today I'll give a breakdown of the topics that will be covered in upcoming episodes and point out some of the hardware that may be useful for you to have based on which areas of aviation communications interest you most.
Mayday, American 953, declared an emergency.
Most people begin monitoring aviation communications by listening to the voice transmissions found in the VHF Airband. These signals are transmitted from 118 to 137 MHz. Throughout this frequency range, you will hear airport communications, such as pilots speaking with control towers. En route air traffic control centres, where higher level flights are controlled. You'll also hear airline company operations, where pilots order fuel, discuss technical and crewing issues, make requests for police or medics upon arrival at the airport, or hold other conversations with their operation departments. There's also lots of general aviation communications such as business jets and private aircraft, as well as helicopters like air ambulances, police and news choppers, even search and rescue crews. Airshow communications often happen in this part of the airband spectrum, and it's also home to the worldwide emergency frequency that I recommend everyone leave programmed into their scanner or SDR at all times. All these transmissions are made by analog voice and will be covered in part 2 of this series. You might want to subscribe and ding the notification bell below so you don't miss it if you haven't done so already. There is a wealth of other communications that take place at airports as well, such as airport ground vehicles, fuel trucks, de-icing units, along with airline staff and security personnel. We will also have an episode dedicated to flight tracking. With a simple $35 or £36 computer connected to a $25 SDR and a frugal homemade antenna, you can track aircraft from your location up to 200 miles away. Running a mini computer 24/7 typically costs less than $20 a year in electricity, and if you choose to share your data with other enthusiasts, you'll be able to track aircraft that are blocked or invisible on most public tracking sites. For those who love monitoring the shortwave bands, we'll have an episode on receiving long-range aircraft communications on HF. When monitoring the major world air route areas, you can expect to hear aircraft and ground stations from thousands of miles away. Earlier this week, I was monitoring aircraft over the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. I could clearly hear the San Francisco ground station over 1,100 miles away to my southwest, as well as the Gander ground station 2,400 miles southeast of me. We will talk about the USAF HF Global Communication System, long-range VOLMET broadcasts, and decoding aircraft position data transmitted on high-frequency data links. Another episode will focus on CPDLC, which stands for Controller Pilot Data Link Communications. CPDLC operates on multiple frequencies, including VHF and both L-band and C-band satellite frequencies. Instead of talking on the radio, pilots and air traffic controllers are increasingly communicating via a data-based flight deck messaging system. I will show you how to utilize free software to monitor and decode these CPDLC transmissions. There will be an episode about military aviation communications as well. Many people really enjoy monitoring military communications. These typically take place in the UHF part of the spectrum from 225 to around 400 MHz. Here you can monitor Air Force and Navy bases, fighter jets, transport aircraft, as well as radar and surveillance aircraft. Depending on your location, you will hear air-to-air refueling sorties, combat exercises such as dogfighting and practice bombing runs, as well as low-level military helicopters and military display teams. We will also talk about the worldwide military emergency frequency. For monitoring aviation voice communications, I recommend two basic scanners made by Uniden. The first is this BC125AT, which is marketed in Europe as the UBC125XLT and in Australia as the UBC126AT. It is reasonably priced at $130 or around £130, and most importantly for us, it covers both the VHF and UHF airband. That means you can enjoy the civil and military action within range of your location. You can store up to 500 of your favorite channels, and the channels can all be alpha tagged. That means you can assign a name to the frequency like you can see here in the photo. The scanner also features close call, which is handy if you visit a new airport or if you're at an air show and want to work out which frequencies are in use. The scanner has great audio and good reception performance across the VHF and UHF spectrum, better than several more expensive scanners in fact. You also get good wideband VHF and UHF coverage, meaning you can listen to analog Coast Guard, railroad, business and public safety channels as well. The BC125 series of scanners are easily programmed by hand or using the free software supplied by Uniden. There are less expensive scanners out there, but I do not recommend them because most do not have the military airband or alpha tagging. The BCT-15X is an excellent base station or mobile scanner. It is priced at $170, or in the UK it will cost you around £250. It covers the all-important civil and military airband frequencies, but holds up to 9,000 channels, all with alpha tagging. The BCT-15X also features close call for finding new frequencies, and the audio is great. We'll have a listen to one of mine in action shortly. Receive performance is excellent, especially when connected to an outdoor antenna. You get wideband VHF, UHF and 800 MHz coverage. That means you can also monitor analog trunking systems, some of which are in use at airports and by public safety departments around the country. Lastly, there is free programming software available, although you will have to purchase an additional cable to program via your PC. Links to both of these scanners are found in the description below, and if you follow my links to make a purchase, you'll be also helping out the channel. I use both these scanners regularly at home and in my vehicles. Let's have a quick listen to one in action.
Airband 442 with you 3250 for 280.
Watch out 442, Edmonton Center, good day, clearance at level 330.
330 for Watch out 442. Do you have any ride reports?
No complaints in your area.
Okay, then.
Almost all SDRs can be used for monitoring VHF and UHF aviation frequencies, but we will also want our software-defined radios to be capable of decoding digital data coming from aircraft and ground stations as well. If you've seen my budget SDR shootout video, you'll know I recommend the RTL-SDR version 3 dongle. If you haven't seen that video, you can click the link in the corner above. This $25 receiver performs admirably well on VHF and UHF. However, it also has an added benefit over other SDRs in this price range. It includes a software switchable bias T. This means it can be used to power external devices like LNAs and patch antennas. If you would like to experiment with decoding CPDLC or setting up a filtered flight tracking station, this is the SDR to buy. UK viewers might want to opt for the Nooelec SMArtee. It has an always-on bias T and is usually in stock at Amazon with free shipping or next-day delivery if you happen to have Prime. Both of these entry-level options will allow you to monitor the aviation-related VHF, UHF and satellite communications. Another SDR I'm going to recommend is the $120 RSP1A from SDRPlay. You will get a very wide frequency range with this SDR, from 1 kHz right up to 2 GHz. That means you can use this device to receive the HF Aviation Communications as well as VHF and UHF civil and military airbands. It has a switchable bias T built in, so satellite reception is fully supported. The pre-selection and switchable filters will also please users as they can significantly improve reception. That's a lot of capability for $120 or £94 from the good folk over at SDRkits.net. As usual, links are in the description below. If you're interested in monitoring all kinds of aviation signals, from air shows to positional data, I welcome you to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you get to see each episode as it's released. If you've decided to follow the series, why not let me know by typing "I'm in" the comments section below. It actually really helps the channel out when you do that. You can also use the comment section to let me know which episodes you are most interested in, or to mention other aviation related topics you would like to be covered in the series. Well, that's it for today. Over the next few days I'll be recording episode 2 and I look forward to seeing you then. For now, this is Frugal Radio. Over and out.